Morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Happy, I've got to fix something actually. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see if that's better. I'm operating by myself today. Almost canceled this because it's hard to come up with topics. Hopefully everybody can hear me. It's hard to come up with topics every day. And I really have no interest in talking about Bitcoin moving $300 or $1,000 in a day. But glad to be here. And I hope we are actually live. I'm not sure how to do this. Wanted to start with Bitcoin at 61,000. Just got back from Wyoming, the blockchain symposium, which was a really, really good event. It had some of the largest players in the world there. The amount of money and the quality of money that's moving into this market is absolutely staggering. I would not have expected it to happen this soon, this early. I think this is fairly impressive that we have a price between 63 and 57. A lot of volume been hitting the market from spot, and I think there's a lot of algorithmic buying that is quite hidden, quite sophisticated type trading. What else happened this week? We got the FOMC, the Fed's basically softening. I think that's a little bit of a response from Bitcoin today. The entire planet softening, so I don't know what the Fed's waiting on. I personally don't think that we need a massive interest rate decrease. I appreciate that there's a lot of 2021 vintage investments that have been made in real estate and other private equity stuff that's out of the money, underwater, probably has to get repriced, or in the terms of real estate, probably it will be extended. They'll just extend the term out. You can't have $1.8 trillion worth of real estate repricing. So they'll do some little adjustment, but I think that at the end of the day, they're going to print money like they did last time in volume, and that should help all asset classes. I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing people prepare to go in back into the S&P, back in the Dow, back into tech, and that will lead to Bitcoin. The DNC, my brother just did a post on 25% unrealized cap gains. Guys, that would be basically financial suicide. Harry Carey of the greatest. Like, these people are, like, not even to be political. It's really hard to understand who they're listening to. I mean, what is the, let's assume you're listening to an analyst or some credit specialist or some financial guru, anyone that would suggest a 25% payment on unrealized gains. One, how you would even process that is beyond me. Do I get to do my losses? You would have the biggest game theory in the history of mankind. It just makes absolutely no sense. These people, they could be, sent down from God. Okay. There's something wrong here when someone suggests that we pay tax on something we have not even realized. It is outrageous. I see Ryan in the outer room. I'm gonna bring him in. I like having people in here. Doing this by myself is really challenging because just making up a bunch of, I think this is the reason that media has gone so bad. I'm sitting here an hour before this going, hey, what am I going to talk about? I mean, I can reiterate everything that's been said over the last 3 days. We can talk about assassinations, nuclear war, insanity, politics that never really take us anywhere because we have a red group and a blue group, and we have to end these groups. Okay, this is this 50-50. Hey, I'm right and you're wrong, and you're wrong and I'm right. Dude, it just is not solving anything. I'm an American. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a libertarian. Okay. I am an American citizen who believes in freedom. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in the right to be able to watch, listen, and do whatever I want to do as long as it does not impact you and it's not against the law. And against the law is the way we all agree on the law, which has become very, very confusing and unclear, unconcise, very gray. So all the lawyers get to make tons of money on this gray, unclear pathway to solving any problems. It's disappointing, and it has led me to being an anarchist. I mean, that is actually what brought me to Bitcoin. Like, I'm tired of saying yes to all this bullshit. And if you're going to define me as an anarchist because I want my freedom, and I'm going to say no to things that are going wrong and have been going wrong for 50 years, then I'm an anarchist. I'm not American. Maybe you label me as a non-American, but actually I want both rich and poor people to be treated the same. I don't want favoritism. I don't want to have an edge, but I also don't want big corporations to have an edge over me either. This is kind of my rant on when I don't really like doing these videos. I mean, I will continue to do them because I'm getting good feedback from people, but I'm not going to show up here and splatter off a bunch of bullshit news, more insanity, more fear. Like, I am certain my Bitcoin position is solid. If I did not have Bitcoin today, I would be really nervous because everything I see going on in this world, not country, but world, it's really, really concerning. Ryan, let me bring you up, see if you have any comments on that. How you doing today, man?
I am great. Thanks, Gary. And let me just start off by saying, preach, brother. Like, what you just said is me to a T. I'm your neighbor over here in Tampa. I'm the funky one. And I just got to say, like, as an NPA, I've never belonged to a political party my entire life. And I feel that there's so much going wrong with the country. I've talked about this on Spaces in a number of ways before. And I loved how you just put it, this whole red versus blue and you're wrong versus not. And, you know, like I said, thank God for Bitcoin. I mean, my wife is a hardcore Bitcoiner. We have Bitcoin. When I saw the invite, I literally ran upstairs, put on my Genesis Hash t-shirt. I was like, I want to go talk to Gary about Bitcoin. So really well said. And I can't agree more. I just feel like we're at this really interesting inflection point just in terms of technology. You know, like, I work for a Web3 infrastructure company. So, you know, I'm a director of protocol relations, talk to a lot of people out there, go to a lot of the conferences. I saw you, in fact, at Consensus when you're with Sam, but you were very busy talking to other people. So I never got a chance to chat with you. But yeah, I just feel like what you're saying is so spot on. And we need more people talking about this. We need more people to actually recognize that nothing that's happening is good for America as a whole, right? We've had this kind of, and you know, I was just this morning on a space lamenting the SCOTUS decision of Citizens United, because this kind of only
what is that, Ryan? Why don't you tell the audience what
so Citizens United back in 2010 was the SCOTUS decision that allowed money to be free speech and effectively has allowed a lot of these corporations to just create a lot of this mayhem, because they're just kind of funneling their funds to whoever they want, whichever mouthpiece it's going to be. And a lot of them playing both sides, and people don't realize the impact that money has had on our elections. Hasn't, you know, don't really realize.
10 billion, dude. $10 billion is being spent on this election. That's outrageous. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really, really, really crazy. $10 billion.
So it's a thorny situation. I'm hoping that we're going to have a way forward out of this move, you know, in this election cycle, and hopefully beyond that, just as the country continues to change. But I just feel like we need to kind of create a cohesive whole. It hasn't been like that in a long time. I mean, I'm going to be 49 next week. You know, I've been voting since 1996. Voted in every election. Again, never belonged to a political party. Vote on both sides of the aisle. You know, here in Florida, I'm more interested, in fact, in like the state elections and the local county commissioners and stuff, because they're going to have a more immediate impact on my life. But at the same time, like, one of the things I do part-time is working with this other group, Ardent, where we're actually part of the Blockchain Association, and we're trying to advocate at the federal level so we can get legislators and educate them and tell them, like, look, we need to find this path forward. And this is why I really believe having a Bitcoin strategic reserve like Senator Loomis is introducing could be so essential to actually putting us back on a path that's going to lead to kind of fiscal sustainability. You know, I'm sure many people were just as amped about the Michael Saylor keynote speech, where he's just talking about sort of the future and how you want to play your Bitcoin maxi position. And I'm an eternal optimist. So I feel like there's going to be something good that's going to come out of the next, say, decade. And hopefully all the things that you talked about that are really negative, the war, assassinations, everything else, will eventually go away, because I'm just like you. I'd rather see everybody prosper. I know there's going to always be a social ladder. It's going to be, not everybody's going to be at the same level of wealth, but there doesn't need to be this kind of friction and having people at each other's throats, where like politics is the new religion and people are just become, like you said, it's almost like Protestants versus Catholics. Going back to like history and the Renaissance, where we have like this just such incredible antagonism that doesn't benefit the average American citizen. And then you have half the electorate who's just totally tapped out. Like they don't care. They don't vote. They're just there as long as they get their 79-cent slushy at like Circle K, that they're good, which is unfortunate. So there's a lot of problems to fix. And thank you for having me up here, Gary. I really appreciate it.
No, listen, really glad. And it's amazing. You live within 20 miles of me, and we're meeting on, a Vaporland. The work you're doing with the political stuff on make sure you reach out to us, because happy to support that. Happy to help. I think there's a lot of miseducation in this space, and some of that's on us as a group of people communicating with people that have other agendas, may not necessarily need to understand the mechanics of Bitcoin. The way to sell this is very, very different than hey, we're going to destroy the Fed. We need to correct the money. Look, the truth is, we need to confront that you're never going to fix this debt problem. Okay. Just talking about the debt at 35 trillion, like all these really smart billionaires talking about, like, the Mark Cuban say, yeah, you're not fixing it. Okay. There is no 35, fix. Like it's $100 trillion, and there's no fixing this ever. The $35 trillion is, there's 700 people listening. There's 800 people. 800 people could not write the number 35 trillion the first time. And then just try to work your way through how many units that is and how long it will take us. We've created this over 100 years. Okay. This didn't just happen yesterday, and we're getting ready to do it in a big time this next round. There needs to be, either we wash the whole system out, meaning everything gets washed out. Not happening. Okay. No politician on the planet's going to do that. Having said that, it's very interesting. I was in Wyoming at this blockchain symposium, and we were talking about the Depression. There was 2 other guys there that remembered their parents had stories of the Depression. And there was a bunch of young people there. And I looked at one of the guys and went, hey, tell me the stories that you remember? And he and I started rummaging in our mind over the stories. I don't remember anyone talking about automobiles driving through people. I don't remember hearing people with pitchforks killing people. I don't remember knife hacks in London. What I do remember hearing is all the family members meeting for family dinner, all the neighbors getting together for dinner. I remember them saying that there wasn't a lot to eat, but I don't remember people hating each other. I don't remember anywhere near the kind of polarization that we have today or the violence that we have. I do not remember hearing about any of the racism. Like the stuff that we have today, maybe we just have too much, and maybe we got too soft. But this is why I believe we have to probably break. We have to go through this, the fourth turning break, where people go, shit, I don't have a job. I don't have a job, and I need to now go and work for Mr. Cardone in his backyard and clean his weeds so I can make some money. We've stopped that. And there will be people on here who go, oh, did he just say that somebody should come clean my weeds? Dude, I have $100,000 worth of jobs in my backyard. Like if you like, that's what I would hear. Oh, wow, that guy's got a job to give me. literally there are people on here. Oh, he's going to pay somebody to clean his weeds. Fucking A, dude. The question is who? I'm not going to clean them.
We grew up in a different era. I just feel like, Garrett, I feel like so much of that disappeared after the millennials. No offense to millennials who were watching and stuff like that, but like if you weren't brought up in a family that kind of had that cohesiveness and also encouraged that level of gumption and just looking for opportunity and wanting to like build yourself up by your bootstraps. But to your point, like I think there's things are just come way too easily now in our society. And it's to your point, it's made people soft, right? They're not willing to do the work to actually improve themselves, their family, their neighborhood, whatever it may be, right? And so it's just it's kind of depressing, but I feel like it's important that people like you are out here having these kinds of conversations, you know, and just trying to encourage others to harken back to a different time. You know, maybe it's just us getting older, right? Like this is the generational thing where, you know, we kind of look back and say, oh, it was better when X, Y, Z. But you're right. Like I remember doing a history project when I was a sophomore in high school. This is like circa 1990. And I interviewed a depression survivor, and my grandparents were still alive who were depression survivors. And yeah, there was none of those things. There was, yes, it was a terrible time in history, but there was still a cohesiveness among us as Americans. People weren't too worried about being Democrat or Republican. Like people just kind of bonded and worked together to get through the hard times, right? And you know, I think this is what happened throughout, you know, and of course, there's a lot of other factors, FDR and us getting involved in World War II and blah, 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 that drew us out of the Depression. But there was still a tremendous cohesiveness. My grandfather, right, like as a kid, effectively, he was 18 years old. He was in the Navy. He was on, you know, a destroyer or, you know, back in World War II. And there was just a willingness to just everybody to pull together because we're doing this for America. And we need that kind of, you know, sentiment again. And I just don't see it happening with this whole constant red versus blue thing, like you were saying earlier. And it's deeply unfortunate that we're at this point in 2024, when you think that with all this technology, with all this abundance and wealth, we could be actually like creating so much more value than we are. But we're just, something about our society is just kind of rotting a little bit. And it's now coming to the fore where it's impacting everyday life and all these knock-on effects, like you said, whether it's the racism, the violence, what have you. I mean, it's just people feel disenfranchised, disillusioned. And, you know, here we are in this, but hopefully things get better, right? And this is what we got to do, make things better for everybody.
Ryan, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate you sharing your comments. You will enjoy this tomorrow, I think around 10 or 11 o'clock. I'm doing a space with a gentleman from Australia. I do this about every 2 weekends this one's on ethics in business and ethics in the way we're living today and how we're communicating. The question is ethics a black or white thing, or can it be negotiated? I think it's going to be a really, really interesting conversation. I'll just give you a little tip for the 1,000 people that are listening. Some of you will have seen that there's a class action RICO filing now against me in a business that's, I think, 7, 8 years old. This thing happened a long time ago. And now any lawyer that can get one human being to sign something for, this is a business that never touched a consumer. Yet I have a class action suit from consumers. So this hit the news yesterday. The news media were like, and they went out of their way to talk about my contributions to Bitcoin, my contributions to Trump, my involvement in Bitcoin and blockchain. Now it explains to me why the deposition that was held 4 weeks ago, it literally started like this. Has nothing to do with any of my current business, a business that's literally 12 years old in the payments industry. The first question was after, are you Gary Cardone? The first question was, sir, are you a thought leader in the Bitcoin community? Are you deeply involved? No, this was it. Are you deeply involved in the Bitcoin industry? I'm like,
how is it even relevant?
What does this have to do with what? Does this have to do with a company that's 12 years old, has nothing to do with blockchain or Bitcoin? In fact, it has something to do with Visa, MasterCard payment system, which is the most heinous payment system on the planet, overcharging almost everyone, picking winners and losers. I mean, it's really, really scary. what's going on the internet. And I thought that was really, really telling. Like, what does that have to do with any of this? Perhaps they're trying to figure out how much money I've made from this industry. But, when we have a US system today, a legal system in the United States, and the first question in a deposition is, what industry are you deeply involved in? That has nothing to do with the other industry. Look, it's a witch hunt. It's an absolute witch hunt. My brother has one going on also. And that's why I'm doing this stuff, because it's like, okay, now I'm being targeted because I have a voice, right? And if like I'm a bit of a rebellious guy, the more they do this to me, the more I'm going to be like, oh, really? Okay, let's go. I think I can collect a lot of people like you and the Brent Garretts of the world who are just fucking tired of this bullshit. You can't even go on the news anymore and get any data. Like, nobody's going to. I had one of my guys the other day. I used an analogy about racism and the way I was name called when I was a kid, and I used the N word, and he cut the whole video. I'm like, dude, don't ever cut my videos. Well, they're going to ban you. Well, they can ban me then. Okay. I did not say anything wrong. What I was trying to say was that they called me Dago, the N word, the nigger word, and WAP word on a regular basis till I was 25, 30 years old. Then they called me Pierre. Like, my nickname was Pierre for 15 years in a company. I mean, today they would be filing lawsuits against that firm. Okay, my boss thought I dressed too fancy, so he called me Pierre Cardone. And they teased me off. It was a little gay thing, on me, and they were teasing me. I didn't go fucking file a lawsuit, man. It's ridiculous. Anyway, where was I going with that? I was going with the people that are on this show. There's 1,000 people here. Someone is wanting new information, right? They want fair, accurate. I may not be right all the time, but at least I can express my opinion, and people can come in and disagree or agree in a mature, respectful way, right? There's no reason for us to be hating on each other all the time. So listen, really appreciate you coming in. Love to have lunch with you sometime. I'm headed to Tampa today to a mastermind group on Web3. I've got some people coming in town for the whole weekend, but we'd love to meet you sometime, man.
Yeah, sounds great. I would love that myself. I'll let you go, but thanks for having me up here. Really enjoyed the conversation. Look forward to meeting you.
Good to have you, man. Thank you. So guys, I wanted to, this is not going to be a long, and I really appreciate Ryan being here. And if anybody else wants to show up, you can see that I invite people that I don't know if you come in. If you do something silly in here, you won't be invited back, and I'll clip you pretty quick. So just ask you to be really respectful. Love to go through some of these comments if you guys don't mind. Let's see. We got, there you go, Sally American. Yeah, let's go America. Okay, let's just worry about what we're doing and let's get our shit together. Parties and races. This is a total divide. I think it'd be cool if everybody just started unmarking on their voting, on their ballots. Don't say what you are. I'm male. I'm not telling you how I'm voting. Okay, I'm an American. That's all you need to know, and I'm voting. Let's see. We got Sally says it all started in 1937 with the Commerce Clause. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. Sally's like busy this morning. Ryan is spot on. Get back to making your kids work hard. Yeah. And I think making sure your children are seeing that you do work hard, that you're disciplined. Good morning to you, the dude. Brad Kingsley says also, good morning, Gary. Thank you very much. Let's see. Oh, here we are. Jimmy, bought Bitcoin because of Gary. Talks sense to me. Thank you very much. I have had so many people come up to me, and I couldn't believe it, actually. I think I'm not really fully aware of the influence that this is having on people, but during the Wyoming symposium, and there were a lot of really serious players there. I would say more serious than there were at Nashville. I was really surprised how many people came up and said, "Hey, I really like what you're doing." I mean, these are business people running large businesses, and I was surprised they're watching. Maybe I'm just thinking that people are still watching CNN and Fox, but they seem to be moving into this realm. It's quite interesting. Let's see. Emmanuel, do you know about longevity escape velocity, Gary? And are you excited about it? I don't know what you're talking about. Be happy to learn. It's a nice little term there. It looks like it might have something to do with anti-aging or something. Longevity escape velocity. Emmanuel, happy to learn more. Let's see, what do we have here? Colby, buddy, always good to have you here. Love to have you on the show sometime. Thank you for watching. We got a friend from Myrtle Beach, Michael Marchese. Yo, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Dude, I was in Nashville just recently and had never been there. I landed the airplane there. I didn't land, but when we were flying in, I'm like, I've never been here because I notice cities by their airports. And it really kind of shocked me that I'd never been there. Fell in love with the little town. In fact, I've never been to Myrtle Beach either. So if you guys want to invite me up to Myrtle Beach, maybe I can make it up sometime. Well, let's see. We have Scott Maurer sending me something. I can't open that just yet. Someone else. Let's see. I want to know what the carbon footprint of the DNC was, including all the people who flew there. Okay. That's your right to ask that question. I guess I don't really have a big button on the whole carbon thing personally, but I'm not sure what that's saying, Eric. If 10 billion is being spent, 10 billion is being spent on 2.5. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, that's such an easy way to handle that. We just quit. Don't allow the super PACs to be available. I mean, it's to me, it's stupid. It's stupid when you can just look. This is basically you can buy the election, right? That's the story. Buy the election or disrupt it. That's what I think Trump's doing. I don't think Trump's buying the election. I think Trump's disrupting it, and everybody else is trying to pay whatever they possibly can to maintain it. Here we got Yowzer saying there is no debt ceiling, ergo there is no debt. Yeah, there is simply pieces of paper, IOUs. Those can be renegotiated quite easily. Brent Garrett, yo, Gary, thank you, buddy. Better late than never. I think better late than never. It's $60,000. I tell you, dude, I think we're being given a gift here. I'm done. People can still buy this stuff at 60 grand. I would not be nervous about buying it at 60 grand. I mean, it's not 40, okay, but 40's come and gone. It's 60 right now, and you're having more validation than you ever have before. And I know I have been saying that for the since January the probably 20th, January 11th, once the ETFs got launched. However, the money that's coming in here continues to increase in volume and increase in quality of the players that are coming here. And these players, their first entry of money is not their only money. See, this is the difference. I think the Bitcoin community is massively tapped out here. Okay. There is no, people like me are the only ones really with the money because I got money from my other businesses. I don't think that the old Bitcoin community has new fresh funds to deploy into Bitcoin. That's why it's getting pushed around. Whereas the new money coming in, these people will buy at 60, 70, 80, 100, 150, 200, and they will buy massive wedges. And they're not going to run out of capital to deploy here. There is no capital being deployed in Bitcoin yet. Not really. 1%. There's $800 trillion that needs to find a home for good returns. Let's see what else we got here. We got we got Brent Garrett saying, "Oh, me and Hoddle." Yeah, I was just talking to him the other day. He's an awesome cat. Thank you, Brent. I think you must like people that just talk straight up and don't do the mumbo jumbo. Eggman, how long does it take for a human to count to 1 trillion? Whoa. How long does it? This is the debt thing. Okay, right here, guys. 31,688 years is required to count to 1 trillion. How are you going to pay it back? Okay. How much sand is on the beach, dude? Like you're just not going to pay back $36 trillion. 4 cars per household, too much. Is that what it is right now? I did not know that. I guess I have 2.5. Here's a cat. See, Daniel said, dude, I'll clean some weeds, bro. Exactly, dude. I'll clean weeds. I'll work. I mean, I'm not that great of an outdoor worker anymore, but I'm gonna create fiat, like I told the Uber driver the other day. Take all that cash that's in your front pocket and put it in Bitcoin, dude. It's toilet paper. I mean, let's be honest. Let's see. Definitely not advised. Gary, I'm on the same page. I've got projects and I just need the liquidity to get my more hands on deck to get them done. If that means hiring hands to be so. Yeah. No, I got you, man. And ma'am. And I think we also need people, right? If you are in a workplace or a job or a corporation and you cannot say what that corporation does to bring value, and you can't say what you do inside that corporation to bring value, you should start looking for a new job where you can bring value to that group and the group brings value that you can quantify and qualify and express. It shouldn't be complicated. Okay. I am an energy player. I find the cheapest energy in the world. I sell energy in the spot market and I make the biggest margins. Maybe that's your goal. Or, gosh, I'm going to help somebody that's really helping people. I make the best coffee in the world. There's going to be people in Bitcoin community and the industries, all the people that have ever, and all the things that have ever been done for legacy have to also be done for the Bitcoin industry, which I think is going to employ 2 to 3 million people. And the question is going to be, do you have that job or does somebody else have the job? There is no college degree required for 95% of these jobs. You just have to learn Bitcoin and blockchain, and it's not that complicated. It is readily accessible. It does not take a 4-year MBA. In fact, you can probably do it, and you can probably spend 25 hours and then have enough knowledge and a couple of certificates to walk into Kraken, to walk into T10, to walk into a group like mine, to walk into a Morgan Creek Digital, to work for a blockchain political group. I mean, there's so many things you could do with 25 hours of intense, literally 1 week of intense learning. Come into some of these spaces that have adult education in them, and you will get connected with some really, really cool people, end up with a role. And if you find a platform that you really dig and they don't have any money, go work for them anyway, man. It's an investment, right? It's not costing you an education. So it's really exciting. Nobody asked me what my CV is. Okay. Nobody asked me what my resume looks like anymore. So this isn't for me. It's for you. Like, I'm looking at it going, wow, this is a cool opportunity. If you're 20, it's a cool opportunity. If you're 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70, if you can get your brain out of the old world and look at what's happening here, if you want to work with some really exciting people and intellectual, smart people, in a marketplace that's going to be here for the next 20 years, we're not going away anywhere. Bitcoin is not going away. If it was going to go away, it should have gone away 5 years ago. Okay, it's not going away now. What else we have here? We got Chipman. Looks like they're trying to distract a power influencer. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, well, they're gonna have to try really, really, really hard. The FTC tried. They charged me $100,000. I spent 7. This is how bad this this enforcement country that we live in today. Me and my partner and the company that was being posed questions by the FTC spent $7.5 million taking 2.5 years for the FTC to say, you know, this is what we think you did. This is part of the whole Chevron deference thing, in my opinion. We think you did this. And by the way, the damage is so heinous. The government spent millions of dollars in 2.5 years allowing FTX to occur while they were focused on me and the chargeback 911 business. $100,000. A $100,000 penalty for something we didn't do. It was so low, I basically was like, hey, write the check and let's get out of here. Spent $7.5 million to determine that the FTC thought the damage was a whole $100,000. They advertised it so aggressively. And then what do? They light up a bunch of class action lawyers that go after firms and people like me that have money to see if they can extort. I think they want 70 million. So here we have a class action now for 70 million that the FTC settled for 100. My big complaint is, why would it ever take 2.5 years and $7 million of legal bills to figure out that a government enforcement authority wanted 100 grand? Like I don't know. That's why I keep telling you guys, if you're in Bitcoin and you're not securing your Bitcoin with Node 40's software, I know I own it, and so I'm pitching it, and I may be promoting it here. But if you don't use Node 40 software, use someone's software, you are going to be minimally hassled by every regulatory body. If you have a reasonable position in Bitcoin, if you think Bitcoin's worth $1 million 5 years from now, dude, you're getting an audit. And when you get these letters, you have to respond to the letter. There is no fuck off, I don't want to respond. You have to respond. This is why I like Bitcoin, because there's no address to send to the CEO. There's no CEO. I love that. Josh Bryan, dude, you are an animal, bro. You are so giving, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It offends me greatly, however, that, and I'm almost going to ask you to quit giving the money, because Google is going to take 30% of that $20. Now, there's the next fight I have to do. Someone start the fight before me, but it is not okay as a public utility that Google takes 33% of that $19. Like that, what did they do? Google didn't provide any content here. I don't see Josh signing up on Google's account to listen to Google or Eric Schmidt. Okay. If they're doing that, they should keep $20 of the $20, but I don't think Google's providing a content. I think Google's providing a platform, just like American Airlines would provide a platform or capacity in their airplane. And if there's capacity, why would they charge 30% tariff? Okay, that is total monopolistic billing. So you can imagine why I'm in a little heated water here. If you guys like people that say no to big, bad guerrilla boogeymen that take advantage of people like you and me, please support me, okay? Because I have always been that guy fighting. I need to wear a beret for the Pierre. Thank you very much. Yeah, Steve Berkshire, I'm gonna file a racist lawsuit against your son for calling me Pierre all those years. At least it's at least $1 billion of damages. I've been harmed and offended. My masculinity has been damaged. Yeah, Brent, get to 1 BTC, dude. Anybody do whatever you can to get to 1 BTC. What do we have here? We have Eric Carson. Happy to join you, Gary. We've been on Around the Blockchain together. Hey, good to see you, Eric. Good to have you. Anytime, man. Welcome to show up. Hey, speaking of yes, no, mark voting. If you're not voting, I would love for you to raise your hand or comment. If you're not going to vote this year, please, if you have a voting license, if you're an American citizen and you're not going to vote, let me know that you're not going to and why. I would love to have that conversation with you. A few more comments. What did I think of Kamala's speech? Didn't even listen to it or anything else that came out of that crew of people. In fairness, I didn't listen to all the Republican speeches either. I did listen to most of Trump's, but I have no interest in listening to Kamala. I think Kamala's IQ is 108 at best. If she is the representative that Americans want, then they will vote for her. Hopefully, they'll do that legally. If you guys want 108 IQ running this country, sayonara. I think that you have already made sure that all the schools have only 108 or below administrators running the entire process. That would explain why our education system and our children are so failed as human beings. Failed as human beings. The ability not to discern real from unreal, truth from lies is idiocy. Okay, that's the only thing. There is no similarities and differences that occur in schooling anymore. Okay, all we do is say that everything is the same. How can you possibly imagine that a child or anyone could discern anything if everything is fair, everything is like democratic, everything is equal to everything? Men are equal to women, or equal to everything's the same. A tennis player that's a girl should be able to compete with a tennis player that's a man. Like, it's just outrageous. Okay, the amount of confusion. My children are so bright, they don't even listen to half this stuff anymore. They don't believe it. They have no respect in what is being said. They barely listen to it. So yeah. So I had no. I mean, maybe I'll listen to the clips, man, but I'm not. I don't listen to somebody with 108 IQ. Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, they won't let me upload them. Let's see. Pair BTC with MicroStrategy. I've been looking at this a lot. In fact, there's a couple of guys I meant to do a show with, and I got really busy. The quant guys. If you guys are listening to this, can you reach back out to me? I really want to do a show with you on MicroStrategy. I think I'm missing something there. A few more comments here, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to smoke them out there. Here's a good one. The dude, be your own bank. God bless. Hey, Gary, can you give me mom a shout out? Yeah. Her name is Betsy. She loves Betsy, sweetie. What's up, Betsy? Good to have you here, Betsy. Thank you very much. And I cannot tell you, Betsy or Eddie, how much that means to me. It really, because this is not easy for me. I know I keep saying that, but I'm going to keep saying it till it's okay. Now I'm comfortable with it. It's just not easy for me. I'm not sure why. I think there's some ego thing that just like it bugs me. Anyway, Betsy, very good to meet you, ma'am. Feel free to anytime come into the space, introduce yourself. BTC at 60 grand is still a steal. I absolutely think so. Yeah, there you go, mom. Let's see. Question. Did you meet Charles H. at SALT? How'd that conversation go? And do you have a sense of ADA? I did meet Charles. I spent probably a good 45 minutes with him and his family. Really, really nice guy. Just got a beautiful Global 7500. Congratulations, man. That's a freaking awesome, beautiful, beautiful jet. And a real, I mean, for someone to be able to do that, you have to take their hat off to them. So well done to you, sir. Look, I don't know enough about all these protocols. We didn't really talk a lot about business. I don't do it like that. I actually get to know people. We had a very good conversation. I would say that it was a conversation that would allow me to probably pick up the phone and call him and have a dinner or another conversation with him. Hopefully he felt the same way. He was very kind, very generous with his time. But we didn't really go into ADA whatsoever. We talked about the overall market, farming, and actually a number of other opportunities on real estate, agricultural, stuff like that. So yeah, it was great. Yep, buy Bitcoin, man. I'm addicted to OPM, other people's money. Okay. I don't like other people's money, funny enough. I just like to manage my own. And love you, Gary. Jackie says, love your energy. God bless. Go BTC. Awesome. I've always liked the name Jackie for a woman. I don't know why, but good name. Powerful name. Gary, you have been a huge influence on me. I truly appreciate you continuing to show up. I have about 6 months left on a project. Once that's complete, I'll be looking to work into working for the industry. Josh, make sure you reach out to me when that happens, buddy. Happy to chat with you, and maybe I can steer you in the right direction or help in some way. The dude, best education ever. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I would have taken the 100 grand, dumped it into my whole life and paid it off alone. Just me, Gary, knows best. I would have taken the 100 and dumped into a whole life and paid it with the loan. Just me, Gary. I think I understand that, but thank you, man. Appreciate it. Oh wow, can you post a Bitcoin QR code to bypass Google or not? That's a good question, Sam. Let's figure that out. I'm sure there is, man. Tip jar. Now, guys, really, I'm not asking you to do that. I don't. I have not really considered. I'm probably driving my team crazy. But I've not really considered how to monetize this. That's not my main interest. My main interest is getting people off of CNN, Fox, CNBC, and poison. Get them off the poison and start at least talking about who the enemy is. There is an enemy out there, guys. If we cannot identify the enemy, how can we possibly fight him? Okay. Like, I'm pretty sure that Bad Fox is not my enemy. I'm pretty sure most of the people on here aren't my enemy. There'll be a few. There'll be some litigators sitting in here. I guarantee you there's a couple of lawyers sitting in here right now, you assholes, listening for me to make a foul up and then be able to show this in public in a court suit. You know, oh, Gary's so rich on Bitcoin, or he's a he's deeply involved in this, criminal Bitcoin community. And they'll make all kinds of shit up. I've seen videos like in a courtroom just like this, and they use them to try to isolate me. So see what they're doing. If they can't censor us, then what they'll do is they'll take the information that we have in the public domain, and then they'll push that into a courtroom system and make you look really, really bad, because they'll take it out of context, just like mainstream media does. And get through a few more of these comments. And guys, I'm going to cut off here right at 1 because I have to be in Tampa at 2 for a master class that's being run by a bunch of guys, big hitters down in Tampa on Web3 blockchain. And I'm meeting with spending this weekend. Maybe I'll just do a little survey here. You guys can help me out. I have a bunch of people asking me to write books, and finally met with somebody in Salt Lake that may be able to help me. I'm going to spend not a week, but a couple of days with him at my home talking about writing a book possibly, or helping me write a book. Now, talk about resistance. Woo, I got some resistance to writing a book. It's quite interesting. I bet I'm going to spend 4 or 5 hours with this guy just talking about my resistance. Anyway, so I'll be doing that all weekend. And just to announce, I do have a space tomorrow at 10, I think with Hitch Slap, and it's on Genius Code. It's on how to run businesses. We're going to focus specifically on ethics, what ethics are, and when does your business require you to breach your ethics? And is there any tolerance for that in your organization? How do you deal with ethics? Is it black or white, or is it gray? And specifically on business, we can get into the personal stuff, and I'm sure we will, but I'd be really interested in understanding from business people and leaders, when do you find that it's time for you to keep your mouth shut? And when do you find that it's time for you not to keep your mouth shut? Because by not doing anything, you are actually actively, although passive, actively engaged in a non-decision, which supports those that are pushing their agenda. Eggman Company. So please show up. Okay. It'll be 2 or 3 hours long. It'll be very interesting. People all over the world from all different walks of life. Should be, that'll be on X at Gary Cardone. Gary, thank you for your voice. Has been helpful for an old dude that was BTC skeptic. You're not calling me old, are you? Debt capital markets history of security, and adoption scarcity. Watching the rate of adoption by who? Sold me. Orange pilled hard. Well done, dude. The Who that's coming to this party. It is impressive, man. It is so impressive. Dark Hole Hodl. Gary, what is your opinion? Is a lot of Bitcoin for an average person? Ooh. I think a lot of Bitcoin for the average person is when they start to think in Bitcoin. Instead of buying a Volkswagen or a Range Rover or whatever car you guys buy nowadays, and thinking about it in US dollar terms, if you start thinking about it in, oh, wow, that's going to cost me half a Bitcoin, I think that's when you start getting the right quantity of Bitcoin. Yeah, I think I'll keep my answer that actually. What is your opinion? Is a lot of Bitcoin for the average person. Also, a lot, I'm not sure you're ever going to get to too much. Let me just say that. I don't think you're ever going to get to a position where you go, oh, I have too much Bitcoin. Well, if you might have too much Bitcoin if it's on leverage. I have a lot of Bitcoin and it just doesn't feel like enough. I will say that. Let's see. We got I saying they like both me and Charles. Very different people, but in so many ways very similar. This guy saying, JL saying voting changes nothing. I hear you, but if you don't show up, it's not going to help, right? So I got you, dude. I would ask you to say, if it doesn't help, maybe we do it differently than we've been doing it. Grab your neighbor, grab a friend, grab your son, grab your daughter, grab your wife. Take off the day. Tell your boss, I'm taking off the day, and it's going to be a paid day. I'll pay anybody to go vote. All my staff, I don't have many staff, but go vote, man. But you got to vote. You can't not vote and take the day off. Bring your buddies, go to lunch and talk about this country. Use the voting opportunity as a way to have a day about America. See, that's what we should be doing. It's American Day. Everyone gets the day off and we're all going to go vote. Wouldn't that be a better pitch, man? It's Day America and we're all voting today. And we want our country to be better, led by a bunch of great people who want our nation to be better than it was yesterday, but without having to sacrifice our ethics, morals, and or have to kill people or lock people down to be successful. I do not think that America has to harm anyone to be successful. I just don't believe that's the world we live on. And if it is the world we live in, fucking release the nukes, dude. It's not even worth it, okay? So, Bad Fox Gary, people love the genuine, raw, unfakeness you bring, refreshing what people crave. You should drop a BTC wallet address in the notes below. Okay, Sam, clearly smash the BTC wallet in there. It's going to cost me another Node 40 software program because then I got to figure out the cost of that stuff when it hits me. Let's see. I do a lot with StreamYard. Excuse me. This is Ryan, who was online with you earlier. And yes, you can post an image during the stream, including a QR code for Bitcoin. Okay, I'll do that next time. Oh, you guys are so helpful, man. You see how stupid I am on some of this stuff? I mean, yeah, thanks a lot, Rajesh. Thank you. I never can say your name right, but I do see you as a regular follower, and I really appreciate you being here. I am definitely not your enemy. See, there you go, Bat Fox. Yeah, no, I know you're not, sweetie. Gary, you the man. Let's see. Blessings, Gary. How excited are you for Bitcoin mining after Wyoming? I listened to the mining presentation. 40 minutes into it, I left. There was nothing new there that I can't read in the public domain. I met most of these guys. I am excited about the miners, but I will say that I think the miners are something that you cannot treat like Bitcoin. The miner, for me, the duration investment period for miners is very, very, very different than Bitcoin. And I see people confusing these two things. I do not see people seeing miners and Bitcoiners in the same. They don't talk about duration enough. So I think you have to be a lot more nimble and have a very different mindset for the miners. These mothers really are violent. Okay. They move a lot. Not to say that they can't be awesome investments. I think what we're seeing here is financial engineering at its best. I'm not saying that to be negative. I've been here before. I lived through the whole Enron thing. I've marked more books than you can imagine when you're doing mark to market. It becomes really interesting. Mark to market means you're setting your own pricing. I do think some of that's going on here. And I think also that we have miners who are claiming to be really, really sophisticated miners, but also they're starting to move into areas of expertise that are not their expertise, and they are very, very serious businesses. One of those being electricity trading. ExxonMobil hadn't figured out how to make their fossil fuel, make them safe just to go trade power. Okay. Just because you own a bunch of nat gas or power stations doesn't mean you can't lose a shitload of money trading electricity. So I think that there's risk here that we don't really fully understand. And I also think the pivot of going into the GPU market and thinking that we're all going to be miners that then evolve into AI geniuses. It's a good pitch, nice win to your back, but I'm not sure these are as easy as, putting .ai on the back of your mining facility. XYZ mining.ai is not going to just make your company worth 3x more. I do own some miners, in fact, and I may add here if we saw a retracement, I might add some miners. But it is a less than a 4% size of my position of the total of Bitcoin. A couple more of these, and then we will close up. Mark says, if we can't get same day voting, we need a blockchain solution to ensure. Yeah, I'm with you. Or just, hey, you got to walk in and no mail-in voting. Braden says he's got a bunch of Bitcoin looking at real estate now. Dude, awesome. Love to hear your view on why you're looking at real estate right now versus Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin's a better purchase. Even if you're buying real estate at a steep discount, I don't think the discount's steep enough yet on apartment buildings to make me want to not buy Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is 60 grand. Maybe you got more than me, but I can't imagine me buying an apartment door for anywhere near the kind of return I'm going to get from Bitcoin and without the hassle. Okay, here's one. 64 million millionaires on the planet, only 21 million Bitcoin. Steve, I've done a lot of analysis on this, not that it takes a genius to do it. 60 million millionaires deploy $2,500 each into Bitcoin. 60 millionaires deploy $2,500 each. How many Bitcoin is required? Can anybody give me that number before we end the show? I could do the math for you, but it's funner if you do it. BTC miners are giving their old GPUs for AI processing. Yeah, I think miners are going to become option providers. They're going to have to get a lot smarter than they are, though, to do that. BTC starts hitting all-time highs, the AI line of business will be seen as a waste of time. I think it's a big there's a lot going on in that space, but I think we're so early. Bitcoin's here and ready. Okay, it's being acquired by sovereigns at this point. So, AI, I'm sure AI is going to be extremely important. The question is when, and when do they start to monetize? I mean, you want to go watch something, watch Peter Thiel's interview with Joe Rogan on AI. And I found it to be a very long video, and Peter's communication capacity is a different. But to his point, like, where is the Chat GBT model 6.0, 8.0, whatever? How the heck do you ever end up with a model where you're making money beyond charging a guy like me $20 a month for Chat GBT, which I'm getting ready to stop? And why am I getting ready to stop it? Because there's other stuff that's much better. These are not large language models that are geniuses. Now, the difference is they've already accomplished being able to answer every question that someone with 100 IQ could answer, which is 100, okay, is the average IQ in the United States. So if our Chat GBTs have already accomplished that of a average American in terms of IQ, where are we headed? Now, I think this is really, really cool for someone with an 80 IQ, because that 80 IQ should now be supplemented and at least get an average. Okay. You show me somebody with hustle with an 80 IQ or 100 IQ that could move to 120. I mean, what's it going to do to me? I don't have a monster IQ. I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist. But if I could add 2 or 3 basis points, or even 200 or 300 basis points to my IQ, 2%, 1%, whatever, 5%, does that not make me stronger? That's a little bit like AI is a little bit like giving me a Glock going into a really violent scene, and you give me a Glock and some bullets, right? So finally, the right answer: 2.6 million Bitcoin are required if 62 million people deployed only $2,500 into Bitcoin. The next question then would be the 406,000 ultra wealthy people, that is $30 million or more. See, I always go over time. There's 406,000 high net worth, 30 plus million liquid net worth players on the planet. If all of them deploy only 250,000, what is it? Okay. It's there's 16 million Bitcoin needed. Okay. Because I haven't even gotten to the Bitcoin, the billionaires yet. There's 2,500 billionaires. 10% of them, 200 of them will buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Sooner or later, 10%, 200 of those people will buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. How much Bitcoin is that? Add all that up, we have a supply problem. And like, I can see this now. I can see time-wise, 2, 3, 4 years out, everyone is going to own a piece of this, because they're already, and this is one of the things I'm thinking about writing a book on, is peak demand. I think all these people are already overwhelmed with every other investment thesis they could possibly acquire: bonds, equities, bridges, land, farmland, virtual land, apartment buildings, villas, chalets, airplanes, helicopters, bearer notes, bonds, gold, silver, crude oil, uranium, gold, watches, jets, and everything, everything but Bitcoin. And every one of the things that I just shared with you, every one of those things can be replicated, copied, and made if the price gets right. More and more and more. Always hit the market. And the beauty behind Bitcoin is there's 19.6 million Bitcoin out in the market, and there's not going to be 28 million tomorrow morning. There's no way to grab more than 19.6. You can't accelerate it. You can't change the price to bring it up. You can't open. The only way is to grab my 1,000 Bitcoin is to, if you want my 1,000 Bitcoin, you're going to have to price them to pull them out of my wallet. But there's no manufacturing facility. There's no refiner. There's nothing out there that's going to create a obfuscation, a temporary supply inflation of Bitcoin that can do anything to change the dynamics of that supply and demand balance, which is very, very powerful. The planet has never seen anything like this. So I think it's like, if you can't invest on that thesis, then there is no thesis that I think you can invest in. Bastiat, good answer, buddy. That's it. You got it, man. 1.6 million Bitcoin are needed at the current price for $250,000 allocation. That's only 250. Actually, I think this number is so stupid. Okay. This number is going to be 2 million, not 250 grand. That makes it 16 million Bitcoin. Okay. 16 million Bitcoin are required for just the 400,000 ultra wealthy people. This guy asked this question. Hey, do you purchase paper Bitcoin from the ETF or buy actual Bitcoin? Dude, I'd do it all. I would buy actual Bitcoin. I'd buy the ETF. I would buy surrogates on the ETFs and surrogates on the Bitcoin. There are things that the ETF affords you that the Bitcoin only can't do yet. And maybe that changes in a year or two, but I can much easily borrow against an ETF than I can against Bitcoin. The pricing on being able to borrow your own, borrow fiat against your own best collateral in the world, it's just not priced correctly yet. Like I'm more of a, if somebody's going to pay me 15% to borrow my Bitcoin, I might allow that. Okay. And it's going to come with a shitload of security, but I just think that at some point, this has to become easier. You got to remember, we're in the first, probably, I heard somebody from Goldman say that we're in the first warm up of the first session. Like we haven't even started the game yet. Everybody's just starting to get settled down in their seats, and the teams are being put on the field. There's been some warm ups, but like, I mean, is that exciting? What if we haven't even started? What if we look back in 10 years and go, wow, it was 2024 and I was buying Bitcoin at 60 grand. Now it's 6 million. Okay. Can you imagine that? Or even 600,000? I can pretty much imagine that it won't be at 60, right? Won't be at 60. It's a $1 trillion marketplace. And there's just nowhere for Bitcoin to go here but up, in my opinion. At $1.2 trillion valuation, it only goes up from here. We could suffer a 20% down day for a little period of time, but I don't think you're going to see $30,000 for a long period of time, as people have suggested. We're going to end with this one, Benjamin. You get the note of the day. The team is in the locker room stretching. That's exactly right. Stretching while they're counting their position in Bitcoin. Guys, really want to thank you for being here. Thank you for all your kind comments. The people that sent us some fiat, thank you also. If you have comments, criticisms on how to do this better, I would love that. It's always you guys will tell me what you want to hear. And if I have any expertise in that area, I'm happy to bring it. If I don't, I'll try and find somebody that does. My boy Hodlstat here saying that our estimates are bearish. I think if you just look at supply and demand, there's more demand here that doesn't even know it's demand yet. If you just go through the super rich, who's got the money around the world, this just becomes who makes the decisions quicker. I will say it's amazing to me how many wealthy fund managers that I have been meeting recently that their children are now involved in their funds, and the like the children, I'm saying they're 28, 30, 35 years old, so they're not children. They're bringing their parents into the space really heavy, which is really cool because probably the billionaires sitting there going, wow, this is a really cool thing. My son, most billionaires are terrified their kid's going to turn into animals, right? But when you see like Scaramucci's son can't be 28, 30 years old. His name's AJ. I thought he was a good kid. I don't know him well. I mean, I don't know, what he does, but you see this. I would love one of my children at 30 years old go, hey, Dad, I want to bring you into the digital industry. Would that be cool? I mean, he's hanging around billionaires and millionaires and fund managers and hedge fund. It's going to be up to him to keep his head on straight. But it's really, really interesting to see some of these families now coming in, and they're coming in through the younger kids. Story, in fact, friend of mine, is worth $2 billion, put $100 million to work. First purchase of Bitcoin ever, $100 million, because his son likes it. And he's now become emphatic over Bitcoin. But billionaire, $100 million. How much is $100 million? 50,000. He bought 2,000 Bitcoin. Smashed it, right? Anyway, guys, thank you very much. I've got about 40 minutes to get to Tampa. Should be a fun show. And hope you guys have a great weekend. Join me tomorrow at 10 on at Gary Cardone Spaces if you want to talk about ethics in business and as it relates to IQ. And I know that doesn't sound like it relates, but it will. But also how it relates to EA, this thing everyone talks about, emotional quotient, or EQ. All right, guys, thank you very much. You guys have an awesome, awesome weekend, and be nice to somebody today. Do something special for someone today. I did something yesterday that made me think of all of you guys. I saw an old lady, just to give you an example, I'm not bragging, old lady walking out of the dentist. This lady was hammered, dude. She was on Valium or something. She was just slaughtered. Must have been 90. Dressed all in pink, can barely walk. She's slaughtered. And 4:30 in the afternoon. And I said, sweetie, can I walk you to your car? And she said, oh, yeah. She holds on to me. Well, she walks me, or I walk her, to a bright red cherry Jeep. And this old lady couldn't have been 4'11", had to get it. She's in heels. She opens the door to her Jeep, and then she proceeds to get in. And I mean, I have to push her in. Okay. And this lady's getting ready to drive. And I mean, I asked her, I said, hey, you sure you're okay to drive? And it looked like she was probably going to the bar. But anyway, that was my little thing. If you open your eyes, there are a lot of people out there that just need a little love, a little push, a little hello, a little nice, hey, you look good, man. Or, hey, awesome, you're doing great. You can do it. Be better than you think you can be. Shit like that, right? And be genuine, okay? Just be genuine. So thank you guys, and have an awesome day, and we will see you on the next one.